So the Glock 43X is one of my favorite carry pistols. And it's not because I think it's the best pistol, but it's purely because of its size and weight. If you watched my previous video, then you'll know that I like to carry the 43X in joggers, and it's perfect for that. But because of the size and weight of the 43X, this thing is probably the most snappiest gun I have. So to help that issue, I recently picked up the Arc Division Reactor for the 43X. So Arc Division is a fairly small company, but they're gaining popularity every single day. And they focus on making custom accessories for both Glocks and SIGs. And their claim to fame is really their reactor kits, which is essentially a ported slide and barrel. And they make these for the Glock 17, 19, 48, 43X, and the SIG P320s and P365s. So what's actually included in the reactor kits? Well, you get a custom milled and ported slide, which is one of the nicest looking slides out on the market. You also get their custom barrel, which is also ported. And lastly, you get a Arc Division backplate for your slide. And that's basically what you get. And honestly, that's all you really need, since you can transfer all your other slide parts from your previous slide onto the reactor. So there's really only two questions that I want to answer with this setup. One, is it reliable? So I typically like to run at least 1,000 rounds through the gun after any modification, just to make sure it's reliable enough to carry. And then two, do these ports actually help the felt recoil and the snappiness of the 43X? So in terms of reliability, I put about 600 rounds through this setup, and I've had zero issues, zero malfunctions, and I have no reason to believe that this can't make it the full 1,000 rounds. So in my opinion, this setup is safe to carry. So what about the snappiness? Well, it's still pretty snappy, but let me explain. So with the stock 43X, like I mentioned in the beginning, it is one of the snappiest guns that I have. I have a really hard time controlling it, and it just feels like it's dancing around in my hands, and I constantly have to adjust my grip. Now with the reactor kit and the ported setup, it really does tame it down, and it becomes a lot more controllable. But you can't compare this to a full-size gun, so it's still considered snappy in my opinion. So like I said, you can't compare the 43X, even with a ported setup, to a full-size gun like my Staccato P. The Staccato P is just way heavier, it's way bigger, and it's gonna have much less recoil. So as long as you have that understanding, and you understand that a ported slide is not a miracle solution, then I would absolutely say that I could feel the difference when compared to a stock 43X. So the gun just felt way more controllable, like it wasn't dancing around in my hands, and I didn't need to adjust my grip as much. Now, the return to zero also felt much quicker, like you could definitely feel that the ports are pushing the slide back down to zero. So this setup is 100% more enjoyable to shoot than a stock 43X, so in my opinion, I would recommend it. All right, so let's talk about the downsides. Let's just cut to the chase. Let's just tackle it head on. This is extremely expensive. All right, so I'm not gonna directly say the price, but I'll put all the information in the article down below. But this is a very expensive kit, and there are cheaper options. So if you are looking for cheaper options, again, I'll put it all in the article down below. One clear alternative that you have to get roughly the same performance is just get your stock slide and barrel ported. That'll probably cost half of what the reactor kit cost. So if you are looking for cheaper alternatives, there's a lot of options out there. But if price is not a factor for you, then I would totally recommend it. I really like this setup. I love the way it looks. I really enjoy the way it feels while shooting it, and you still get a very tiny package. So this setup right here is definitely in the top contenders for my summer everyday carry. But what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Would you spend the money to have this setup, or would you look for cheaper options? Let me know in the comments down below. But that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.